Hello, I'm Dale Leftwich with RealAgriculture. Today I'm with Marlene Boersch, who is with Mecantile Ventures. How are you doing today, Marlene?
I'm very well, thank you.
Marlene, you just gave another really interesting presentation to a Pulse meeting in Rosetown. You started off with India, which of course is the huge elephant in the room. Do you want to just kind of outline a little bit about where we are with India? Because things are changing a little bit.
Well, they haven't changed a lot yet. I mean, what people don't realize, though, is that year to date, in terms of lentils, we have actually shipped about 98,000 tons. That's to the end of November, and I think they're the single largest buyer of lentils. And, you know, that's in spite of the tariffs and so on. So we are shipping, and they obviously need some of our lentils. Tariffs and quotas, especially for peas, are still in place. We do tend to think that after the election they might change their protective elements a little bit as they go along, and we do also believe that they will need both some lentils and peas actually for the domestic consumption. But as of now, things are unchanged and probably will stay so from a policy point of view until after the elections in April, May. So.
Right, they still have all of those domestic concerns. But you were talking a little bit about the monsoon season and how that's kind of rolling out, which is a little bit of a change.
Well, that's why we think they might have to make some changes. The monsoon was about 9.5% below average, and in some areas it was worse than that. The post-monsoon season has been close to catastrophic, particularly for central India, which matters for lentils, for example. And so we're also looking at about a 10% reduced acreage seeded for the oncoming crop. And you combine these elements, that's what's feeding into the assumption and belief that they will have to replace, some of these shortfalls or some of these reductions over the last year.
Right, so there is no real change yet, but at least some of the underlying factors are more positive than what they have been.
Exactly. We came off 2 years of higher production, and that's not likely going to happen this year. So some of the factors that led to the protectionism are actually waning. So, that's maybe a different way of putting it.
Right, and one of the things that you did, which is not often done, is that you focused a little bit wider on other production possibilities around the world, around the Soviet Union, around Kazakhstan and that kind of stuff. Do you want to just sort of give a little bit wider view about where the world situation is?
Well, I tried to look beyond these often quoted things just on India and China, and I looked some of the market share data. So what was the total volume imported and who shipped it? And the picture that emerges to me is that in the case of lentils, for example, we lost market share, especially in Turkey towards Kazakhstan. For various reasons, production there has increased. They ship in that direction into Turkey. However, they do have grading problems. I think the acreage will go down in the coming year in Kazakhstan on lentils, to take that example. I was pointing out that there are a number of elements sometimes when people import less. It's not necessarily only the policies. We should also look at who else is selling into it. And in the case of India, I looked at also competition by Russian peas, for example. Mm-hmm. And what it did over the years, showing that actually our market share also has gone down a little bit in favor of some of the others. So, it's too simplistic just to look at the one factor, was the point, and then also to look which are the up-and-coming countries that pose a heavier competition to our pulses.
So you were also giving people a little bit of a better idea about what kinds of targets and that kind of thing to set for the fall. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you see things kind of approaching into the fall?
Well, what I did is I talked about the world balance sheets on lentils and peas. And I pointed out that last year, for example, world pea production in the world, not only in Canada, actually went down a number of percentage points. Our carry-out is actually somewhat reduced, and so we're at a bit of a different starting point. even on lentils, we're in the process of reducing our ending stocks. We won't have as constructive a stock-use ratio, but we are kind of on the right path to keep chipping away at, that overproduction we had 2 years ago to get back to a little more balanced picture. So that's what I was talking about. So I said, in terms of old crop prices, they have actually become a lot more attractive, and that people should take care to participate in the stock reduction actually at prevailing prices. They should be able, in most cases, to make some money. So it makes sense to me to participate in the stock reduction, to put it mildly.
Right, yeah, which is, it's really good to make sure that you're looking at all the things. One of the things I think also that you said is that off the combine this fall might be slightly better than last fall.
Well, I said I expect less competition from Eastern Europe and specifically Russia.
Right.
And what I said is that if you are seeing some attractive fall prices that guarantee some returns, I wouldn't be shy to fix them. There was a $7.50 bid for yellow peas today in new crop. I would jump on that personally.
Yeah.
And, same with lentils. If there are some new crop prices that actually ensure some return, in my books, it's a good idea to take some of those.
Okay, well, I just really want to thank you again for being with us, Marlene. And you've got several more of these to go the rest of this week to different parts of the province. So I hope you have a good presentations at all of those.
Thank you very much.